There on Governor Romney's knee is his adopted grandson, who is an adopted African-American child, Kieran Romney. Any captions for this one?
One of these things is not.
I think this picture is great. It really sums up the diversity of the Republican Party.
Yeah.
All right, they just can't seem to help themselves over at NBC News. That was liberal loudmouth Melissa Harris Perry mocking Governor Mitt Romney's adopted African-American grandchild. And over the weekend, after a whole lot of public outcry, the so-called journalist offered this weepy apology.
Without reservation or qualification, I apologize to the Romney family. Also, allow me to apologize to other families formed through transracial adoption, because I am deeply sorry that we suggested that interracial families are in any way funny or deserving of ridicule. On this program, we are dedicated to advocating for a wide diversity of families. It is one of our core principles, and I am reminded that when we are doing so, it must always be with the utmost respect. I'm genuinely appreciative of everyone who offered serious criticisms of last Sunday's program, and I am reminded that our fiercest critics can sometimes be our best teachers.
Now, is that dedicated to the goodness or dedicated to saving one's job? Now, the following day on Fox News Sunday, Governor Mitt Romney accepted her apology. Here to react to this, much more, author of Never Ever Trust a Liberal, especially over 3. And Coulter's back. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you.
Well, look, I can't read somebody's heart and the weeping and the crying, but after all the other hosts that were, I guess, let go or resigned, was that to save one's job, or was that heartfelt in your view?
Yes, it was a heartfelt email from her boss.
Heartfelt, I do want to continue working. Yeah.
No, and I especially like that their panel on MSNBC, and like all of these, I mean, they were reviewed by assistants. They had a segment specifically making fun of this adopted black child in the Romney family. There were plenty of people to see this. This wasn't a slip of the tongue in spontaneous argument.
No, wait a second.
As with Martin,
look at this picture.
Right.
Know, like,
as with Martin Bashir's, I mean, that was on the teleprompter. People wrote that out and put it there for him to say someone should defecate in Palin's mouth. But it's particularly good having Melissa Harris Perry, of all people, make fun of a black child in the Romney family as a token. What does she think she is at MSNBC?
Well, you're saying you believe. Why would you say that? I mean, you've got plenty of African Americans, black Americans there. Why would you say that?
You don't have plenty. In fact, it's a fairly recent phenomenon. Yeah, think of how crazy MSNBC is now, that the voice of reason is Al Sharpton.
Well, I don't think he's the voice of reason. He's the voice of liberal.
He's the only respectable one on MSNBC anymore. Al Sharpton.
He gets in less trouble than everyone else, it seems. All right, well, I'm not. Listen, I can't read somebody's heart. I don't know. But hell is frozen over in the beginning of this new year, as I agree with Alec Baldwin. He sent out this tweet.
That was great.
All right, and he says, if I cry, will I be forgiven all my transgressions?
No, and I would like to point out there is now nothing you and I disagree on. The only things we've disagreed on before were Liz Cheney's run against a conservative Republican. She's dropped out. And as you know, I always defend Alec Baldwin.
All right. Now, I have a bone to pick with you. For whatever reason, you have this obsession with watching these lunatics over at NBC News, and I don't know why, but there's something going on here. Because you got Bashir, you got Alec Baldwin, you've got Eddie Schultz, you've got Chris Matthews who's lost his mind. Here's just a short montage of the craziness that, in case you missed it, Ann was watching.
He is an enemy of the country, in my opinion. Dick Cheney is. He is an enemy of the country. Lord, take him to the promised land, will you? See, I don't even wish the guy goes to hell. I just want to get him the hell out of here.
Do you know what they're talking about? Like this right-wing slut, what's her name, Laura Ingraham? Yeah, she's a talk slut.
He is everything the white conservatives should have designed and said our perfect African-American president. That's if they ever wanted there to be a black president of the United States. That's if.
What are you going to do? I hope you jump. Thank you.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
Answer me, yes or no?
Yes.
If you're here when my wife and my kid come out here, you've got a big problem. You know that, don't you? Okay. Maybe you are as dumb as you look. And you are with Fox, right? You're the one that almost hit my wife with the microphone in the face? Oh, you didn't? Yeah?
I honestly did not. We have
you want to apologize to her on camera? I asked you a question. You want to apologize to her? I asked you a question. Okay, get the out of here.
When Mrs. Palin invokes slavery, she doesn't just prove her rank ignorance. She confirms that if anyone truly qualified for a dose of discipline from Thomas Thistlewood, then she would be the outstanding candidate.
I want to talk today about a controversial word. It's a word that has been with us for years. And like it or not, it's indelibly printed in the pages of American history. A word that was originally intended as a derogatory term, meant to shame and divide and demean. The word was conceived of by a group of wealthy white men who needed a way to put themselves above and apart from a black man. Y'all know the word that I'm talking about. Obamacare.
This race obsession over there. What do you make of that?
No, I mean, that is what was offensive about them joking about the Romney grandchild. The way she apologized for it, though I think she was really crying after she just saw her fourth quarter ratings at MSNBC. She apologized for making fun of children. And yes, liberals always do that to conservatives, whether it's conservative talkers. They will out the relatives of conservative politicians, conservative pundits for sport. And it is an ugly thing when they go after the children. But that wasn't what this was about. This was making fun of a child for his skin color. It was about race. And this is coming from the network that said Mitt Romney's use of the word Chicago was racist. They haven't heard of Al Capone at MSNBC.
Well, Obamacare.
And Obamacare. Yeah. Apartments. When Romney said apartments, Chris Matthews said that was racist because black people live in apartments, not in New York. It's all the rich people.
Well, a lot of people live in apartments. I lived in an apartment. I mean,
with their special decoding ring for racism and everyone else, and then they make fun of an infant child for his skin color.
But there's one point where there's a sinister side to this, and that is the use of the race card and the gender card and the class warfare card. It works. We're going to see a lot of it this year.
Well, as I wrote in Mugged, it was just about gone in this country, and then they needed to start playing it again to promote the most left-wing president the country has ever seen, Barack Obama. And there's been an explosion. I mean, if you had a graph of racism sightings, it was through the roof until the O.J. verdict, and then basically completely disappeared between O.J. and Giuliani and Bill O'Reilly on this network going after Jesse Jackson repeatedly. It just went away. It didn't work anymore. It was like a subway token that didn't open the gate anymore. And when Obama came back, wow, it just exploded again. But unfortunately for liberals, there is no racism in America. There's more cholera in America than there is racism, and so they have to invent it.
Would America elect a black president? And you know what? America elected a black president twice.
An incompetent black president. That's how much they want to elect a black president.
All right. Ann Coulter, you're going to create a lot of controversy this year. I can see you just warming up. Thanks for being with us. All right. And coming up next.